That's how you end the game. That's how you do it. From now on, this is how we're gonna end all our games. I was like, I was like, you sort of just got us with a little bit of lull, and it's like, can Mahomes do it? Can Brock Purdy do it? And then just at the end, you're just like, which way did this go? It's down to the last. Everything about this was pretty much the plan and how it was scripted. If you get what I'm saying. No, look, this I was like, to me, this is a game that I'm like fan of football kind of game. Uh, like this wasn't one of those that boring like Pacers Rams game where it was just like, oh my god, I don't even want to be here. Uh, this one had, I mean, yes, even the lead up to it, you could feel it in like before the game, during the game, but things were happening constantly in a way that made it fun. Um, I like this pretty much was a defensive battle throughout the whole game for both teams until enough offense was being done, you know, and like they'll just give you little snippets here, and like even though the score looks like how it was, the way it got done made it feel like, okay, we're doing offense here, just that the defense is being really good. Uh, 49ers, I really feel like y'all really are probably kicking yourselves because not only were there moments where y'all should have taken advantage of like the game, but it's it. I was like, okay, so there was a point where, and I was like, Ron will talk about it in the cast, but I was like, you just sort of know that like this happened with Shanahan is that he just gets pass happy, and I felt like in that like coming back from halftime and stuff like that, he just got a little pass happy. There was like he should have been able to, like he didn't. They don't use McCaffrey how they can use McCaffrey, and I understand too that it's like, hey, you don't really want McCaffrey to get used up or beaten, but at the same time, that was the one guy that they wasn't able to really stop. Everybody else, they like play here, play there, but they was stopping. I was like, Kittle ain't really like do like anything except for like those like except for like 3 plays, really, to be honest. Um, but no, like starting off, the 49ers look like they about to do something again until Christian McCaffrey fumble, and it's like Christian McCaffrey don't fumble like that. That's crazy. Oh, and the Chiefs get the ball. That's like, oh man, like this guy already like that. I was like, this could be over real quickly. Luckily, defense held up. The defense, I was like, the 49ers defense played their best football. Their best football, and I don't know how long. I was like, Chase Young came out the thing like, yo, I'm trying to get that contract. Y'all ain't gonna be talking about my name. Um, I was like, no, the whole front line. I was like, Bosa played like excellent of trying to keep Patrick Mahomes from trying to do Patrick Mahomes things. Um, what I think sort of got them in the end because of like their containment and because they don't want him to go, do that whole like giving extra time for a play. I was like, and Mahomes, after a while, just started being like, I'm gonna win the game. I'm Patrick Mahomes up in this hole. And he just started scrambling, and he just started just being like, cool. You gonna give me 8 yards? I'm gonna take 8 yards. I'm gonna get 20. I'm gonna get 15. To be honest, that's what he was really getting more than like the little 5 yard runs or whatever. Um, but then you also had like Pacheco. I was like, he fumbled. It's like that doesn't happen like that. Uh, Rice, he fumbled. Luckily that they were able to pick it up. Uh, yeah, no, it was a lot. I was like, it was a lot of that going on. So some of that is just like young players, jitters, that you could sort of write off. Cause after that, then everybody sort of had a pretty much even, like even game. Um, I like Brock Purdy. I was like, he played really well. Uh, I was like he almost he almost had his play where he was able to scramble to the side and launch it and throw it to Kittle. That would like pull back, but no, I was like the 49ers. I'm like, nah, there's part where y'all just probably gonna be kicking yourself just because like that drive where he threw it to Kittle from the other side of the field. It's like probably should have been led to like a score, but they just kept getting penalties, and they just, you know, or there were just times where just that defense, third down needed, got the sack on Purdy, or got in Purdy's face, or knocked the ball down. Cause there's plenty of times where it was just like, ooh, that was a good blitz. Ooh, that I was like, ooh, they would just the line or the pocket just got so much that, cause I was like, there was like two to Debo that if he would have put him in right, touchdown. And it's like at the last second, Chris Jones will just get up in his face or just touch him a bit, or the DB at the last second knock the ball away. It would just play like that constantly from the Chiefs defense, they're pretty much their whole unit was like great. Uh, and also too, considering the fact that the Chiefs, like they're it didn't really feel like it until like, like there'll be a break or something that the Chiefs defense just looked like tired and winded. And I don't know if that's necessarily because they're doing a lot more like, like stunts and blitzes and stuff like that to me than the Niners, who are really just like really only rushing with four for the most part. Um, I'm gonna say maybe it's the way that also the way that the 49ers, I guess, was playing the ball, because they was really having the ball for a good chunk of the game. Uh, it looked like how the Chiefs, the way they play, how they're not throwing bombs, they're not really throwing like deep passes. That you would think that they had a pretty good time possession, keeping the ball away and stuff like that. But I think they were just faster with their stuff, where the 49ers just like, all right, running with a cat, especially early on, running with McCaffrey, Debo here, Jawan Jennings. I was like, who pretty much, if I like, should have been the Super Bowl probably MVP if it wasn't for Mahomes. Just because I'm like, he threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown. Hell, could have gotten. I was like, should have got another touchdown, but wasn't seen. Yeah, he was sort of, he would. I mean, they would have probably given it to Purdy, but he was the best player of the game, of getting the MVP for the team. Um, yeah, no, this I liked every single part of this game. I was like the Chiefs having all these miscues and messing up, and it just looking like, they just can't get right. They just can't get right, and having to do, kind of like, you had like Kelsey on the sideline getting crazy at Andy Reid. You had Chris Jones over here get messed. I was like huddling up people, Rasheed Rice and Patrick Mahomes, chit chatting. It's like I was like, I think we're in a different time of football, and with a little bit of more hindsight and stuff like that. Otherwise, we would have been like, look at these players going crazy and doing things they don't need to do. But when you realize it's like the emotions of it is intense, and you're over here trying to get, trying to talk and get your point across and stuff like that, hey, it's fine. It's a whole bunch of guys, and it's like, you ain't gonna take it to heart in the same way that somebody rolled up on you out of nowhere doing that, or at work or something like that. That's crazy. Um, but no, I was like, Mahomes is just. I was like, but I think some of that kicked in. I was like, I think some of that just kicked in of like, Patrick Mahomes is over there. We gotta do stuff. Patrick Mahomes is over. We gotta make sure we score. Patrick. I felt like that's what it was the whole time. It was just like, we gotta do something. The boogeyman come. Like it was that. It felt like that the whole time, because I was like I said, like in that third quarter, it just seemed like Shanahan went full on. Come on, me, you, Purdy is going to do this the whole time. And I'm just like, why are they? I was like, why are they throwing? Why are they throwing? Okay, cool. They got the third down. Why are they doing this? Okay, cool. I understand they moving the chain, but they just keep on throwing with Purdy. And somebody said it. I was like, I mean, probably of course maybe just Romo or whatever. But the way that it was sort of going, he said, "Oh man, this is the Seattle moment, or whatever." and that's how it felt. It almost felt like how at the end, like what they was doing with Russell Wilson, how they were sort of doing with Purdy, and it was just like, hey, he had been playing really well. That does not mean that we should not get the ball to some of these other guys. Uh, I was like, I thought there could have been more. I was like, yes, we were doing Monday morning quarterback kind of thing. But I was just like, I thought there had been a little bit more screens just because of how they've been getting at him and how a couple times it was just, I was like, they would just be in his throwing lanes. Um, I was like, but it was a lot of him just being like a drop back passer. I was like, I didn't even think they used his legs as much as they could. And I can say like, yeah, the Chiefs defense are making sure of that, but I was like, I don't think that he had a real opportunity to use his escapability, especially when it's like, okay, cool, you got all these weapons, so they're going to be locked in for the most part. And and I was like, you should have heard like a little bit of this, like they were saying like how young he is because he didn't audible or check out of things, and that just comes with time or whatever on some of the blitzes. Because I was like, what Mahomes was doing, Brock Purdy could do a a good amount of that of the scramble. We've seen it before and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I was like, yeah, don't get me wrong. A lot of Shanahan was doing a lot of really great play calling and getting them and stuff. It's like the pass to McCaffrey. I was like, that was the luck you needed, along with the scheme and also just like even the thought of doing that is wild. But also too the Chiefs, how they just like they use like, to me, they use their people better on like decoy stuff, like the touchdown to Marvez, where it was like Travis, and it's like all they did was just switch, and he was open because everybody went with Travis. I was like, that's how you use your weapons as a decoy. The touchdown to score was also where it was just like, don't get me wrong. I was like, that probably was gonna be open either way, because if Ward would have went with uh, Hardman, Travis Kelce was open. So, but they went to Travis first. So I'm like, okay, that's how you use your weapons in order to create mismatches. And I was like, I was like, I don't want to say Shanahan that's what he did, because that one would seem more like Purdy, where it's like, okay, Debo, are you covered Jawan Jennings? Or it's like, oh, third down, we know who we going to, big boy Jawan Jennings. Um, I was like I said, he was also playing really well too. I was like, and then I was like, as much as the Chiefs defense was tired, and like I said, they are really don't break. Like, they might bend. I was like, it was third down. I was like, they don't got another pass. Third down and 12. How did they get that? Dang it. I was like, it was a lot of that. But they never gave up a big play. And when it came close, when you're in the red zone, nope, nothing. Um, yeah, but comparison to the 49ers, and I'm like, the 49ers gave up big plays. Like one of McCole Harmon that started all off, where I thought, I was like, oh, this game might turn. I was like, we gonna get this Mahomes that hadn't even been doing this. This game might be something. Where he should have got that pass. I was like, Gibson should have been able to knock that down. Um, but stuff like that. But I was like, the ones where the passes where it was just like the Rice on the drag route, Kelce drag route, where it was just like, I was like, there was a couple times where it was just third and long. Mahomes, whatever. I was like, I guess it's understanding of like, cool. What was like, we're just going to take enough chunk yard. But because they were biting themselves in the foot as well too, especially towards the latter part of the game. I mean, like coming out in that halftime of the game, it was like they were still biting themselves in the foot. But yeah, no, Mahomes, and I was like, Kelce just, I was like, at the end, Kelce just started figuring stuff out. It would just started figuring stuff out. I was like, man, maybe because they couldn't put the Chiefs away, that like whatever they would like they were doing, they got lackadaisical with him. I thought they put him in better matchups of where he was on a linebacker, but it was still like, yeah, but he had enough room to get off and do his move, his Kelceness, and everybody wants to use him as a verb. Um, yeah. So Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Kelce, three-time, three-time, three-time Super Bowl champion, and I was like, no, that was a really fun game, a good game. Glad that the rules for overtime gave us this situation. Also, I just think it's weird. This is not about the game entirely, but went to place a bet, and it was like the combo kickers, 48 plus yard field goals, and you could be like more, 0.5, and I was like, I don't know if they're gonna do over, basically a 50-yard field goal, either one of them. Now, not knowing that, I think the record was like 50 or something like that, that I would have been like, I might have placed it, because I'm like, oh, okay, that's break a record. Which is weird in itself, that it's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to do it because it feels like they're going to do that to break a record. Then it's also weird that I'm like, not only that happened, both of them did that. They both broke the record, so it's like, that was odd. I know it's not written down ready for storytelling, but it just struck me as weird. That's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, hey, good game, Chiefs. Whew, I was like, them guys gonna only get better. I was like, now they get to go into the draft afraid to see us get more weapons, or people who still got something to prove or do, but they on, like I thought this year, I was like, oh, yo, they should get DeAndre Hopkins. They should have got DeAndre Hopkins. They didn't get DeAndre Hopkins. But I'm saying that's an example now that I'm like, yeah, now they're going to be able to get that dude, man, probably a little bit cheaper. Not DeAndre Hopkins, but an example of like that type of guy that is like, I'm going to go here, and I know they're going to be here, because I was like, if it was a year to do something, it seemed like this year when it's like the offense is explosive, but it's still great. I was like, the defense, I was like, they still need some body, but it's still great. And the 49ers, Chase Young is gone. Brandon Ayuk. Somebody going to, I was like, I don't know if he's a free agent, but I'm like, I feel wouldn't be surprised if Juwan Jennings, somebody try to get him if he is a free agent, or he wanted some more money to be in a bigger role. I was like, you've seen the night that the 49ers started falling, injuries all over. I was like, Green. I was like, not Ken Law. I forget his name now, but I was like, towards Achilles, trying to get back on the field. I was like, one of their linemen went down. Debo was in and out for a minute. I was like, hell, Christian McCaffrey was getting his ass beat up, because and I'm like, he toughed it out, but it was like he was in pain. I was like, some of them hits, I was like, whew, shit, that hurt. Yeah, no. You gotta wonder, is this window? They got 2 more years. They got 2 more years with Purdy at this cheap level. I mean, they'll give him a contract, not this year, but next year. I was like, because he was a late round pick. I don't know how that necessarily worked. But either way, they got like another year and a half or something like that before he got to get paid. So I'm like, it was like the healthiest y'all could be all year. Trent Williams is up there in age. Hey, we'll see how it all goes. But anyway, that was Super Bowl. Hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. And the NFL season's here. Hopefully for better times. But until then, see you in the next one.